Warning, this content is for entertainment and educational purposes only. This video is brought to you by First Detachment Nutrition. Battle tested, expert formulated. Use discount code AB10 at checkout for 10% off. What's up, guys? Paul here with the crew. Hopefully we can redeem ourselves this week.
Hopefully.
It was
indeed.
People were blowing me up, but we'll make a better effort this week. We got DJ back. I feel like we owe her a mulligan, so
yeah.
Mulligan. I was happy to be here.
Todd, where do you get your t-shirts from?
Which ones?
All of them. You have like the most unique t-shirts.
Oh, this was a present from a ex-girlfriend. She thought it was my sense of humor, so she got it for me. Because I was watching Walking Dead with her 5-year-old, and she didn't like it, but it was like, hey, he watches it with his biological dad and with his brother, and then you don't have a problem with that. And it was one of those things. He was a cool kid. But yeah, so she got me this shirt because I got them into Walking Dead. That they both of the little kids, like I had them pick out their favorite ways to kill zombies, and the little girl had the best way. It was to shoot a flare gun in the zombie's mouth so it could turn into a man-o-lantern.
A positive mentor for children.
I'm supposed to be a great stepdad. It's just unconventional.
How to kill zombies.
Yeah, well, it's important to know. Headshots is key. I met someone the other day who was 45 who didn't fucking understand you were supposed to shoot a zombie in the head. We were playing an RPG, and he kept shooting him in the chest, and I was just like, this is the stupidest fucking human being that I've ever heard of.
That's like Nerd 101. You know to shoot the zombies in the head, right?
It's so fucking stupid. And he'd been playing for 20 years. Be different if he was just like a fresh off the boat, like came from real world or something, but he'd been playing the game for 20 years and kept shooting the fucking zombie in the chest.
What game?
Well, we were playing Vampire the Masquerade, but it was set in the 1950s in DC. And it was like these greaser zombies were attacking our house, and he kept shooting them in the chest. And I was just like, dude, he's a fucking zombie.
So you mean like D&D, not like
well, it's like D&D, but it's like a less kids focused version of D&D.
Not a video game.
No, it's the real thing.
Right. Yeah, real thing.
No Colin today, by the way. He's
I was gonna say
he's on vacation.
Chase is like, Todd doesn't know that it's not real. It's funny. Yeah, it was like, no, I understand that it's not real. But I fucking denial about it. I guess.
No, it's great. Like it's cool that you're like that's your thing, you know.
It's so funny because no one believes you actually play. They think that it's like people are like in denial about it. Like I remember I had this one ex-girlfriend where she used to think I was going to the strip club. And I was like, nope, I'm playing Dungeons and Dragons. And we were actually playing Dungeons and Dragons. And she's like, no, you're at the strip club. I take pictures. I was like, look, there's dice. It's like, you're playing dice at the strip club. I'm like,
gambling.
Who the fuck plays dice with a die 20 and a die 8? With miniatures.
Nerds.
Gotta roll.
I was like, shoot a video. Like, do you see a woman here? You know why? Because we're playing Dungeons and Dragons, and girls don't play Dungeons and Dragons.
You gotta roll 18 per top to come on.
Oh man, that's hilarious.
I was like,
Todd's probably the safest boyfriend to have. Like you're not going to see him going out. Yeah, you either be reading on the computer or playing Dungeons and Dragons.
Yeah, I mean, pretty much. I'm so safe that it's like boring.
Colin says hello from Florida.
Nice.
I love that he's on vacation and watching this.
What?
Chase does it all the time. He's all the time commenting when he's on the road. He can't get enough of us.
I think Steve does that too sometimes.
Yeah, Steve comments too. I literally watch no YouTube or like other than what I do very rarely. People are all the time like DMing me and saying, "Hey, did you see what so and so said this week?" I'm like, "No, I don't pay attention to social media outside of mine." I really don't.
Did you see the Chris? I mean, your answer is going to be no, but did you see the Chris Williams interview with Phil Heath?
No.
Okay. I saw a little bit of that.
I didn't either.
I thought that was. I mean, I've been watching ever since he interviewed Israel. I've been watching all of Chris Williams' stuff.
I don't even know who Chris Williams is.
Exactly, right? He's like a mainstream Barbara Walters. It's a man, and he's British.
He's that really famous,
like a man dick.
Oh, he is a fitness influencer. I thought he just did interviews.
No. His twin brother is a famous influencer.
Okay. Yeah, so he did this interview with Phil Heath, and Phil Heath, like he did one with Bumstead, and Bumstead actually got into gear. And then he did one with Phil Heath, and Phil Heath actually got into gear. So it's interesting to hear about what Phil Heath used to do.
Yeah, I'll have to watch that. That might be a good reaction video.
Oh yeah, I remember. I didn't watch it, but I saw people commenting on making reaction videos to Phil's claims.
Right. It's basically 750 test, 4 units of GH, never used insulin, doesn't touch Tren habitually.
He said for his entire career?
That was at the peak. Most of his career, it was less.
What was it? I think it was Skip Hill when I had him one talking about Phil's first. I guess Skip used to work with him or knew him or something. I don't know what the deal was, but he said that Phil did his first cycle for his pro qualifier, won his pro qualifier.
In Denver.
And he was, I don't remember exactly what it was, but it was something stupid. Like he was taking 300 milligrams of Deca and that was it.
Mm-hmm.
And Justin was like, that's when I knew it was time to hang it up.
Yeah.
He's like, I'm never beating this guy ever.
That's fucking ridiculous. There's a kid that goes to my golds. There's a kid that goes to my golds, and he's 20 years old, and he's 230 pounds, like just this fucking ripped kid, like completely natural. And he's competing, and he's definitely going to qualify for nationals. He's that good in classic. And I'm like, I'm so disappointed because he's like natural, doesn't train that hard, doesn't like really have a constructive diet, just kind of like meanders his way through the gym, and yet he's like this jacked freak. And it's just, it blows my mind.
I had a guy like that once when I was working as a trainer at a commercial gym. They set me up with this kid. Like he was a kid, like 19 years old, never worked out ever. And he comes in and he's like, never done anything. I was like, okay, well, let's just go like bench press and shit, like show you the basics. It was a consultation, so like he didn't have sessions or anything. It was just like show him the ropes, show him around the gym, stuff like that. And he was jacked, and I was like, what the heck? Like, so I take him to like do whatever. He's ridiculously strong, but I can absolutely tell he has no idea what he's doing. He had never done anything before, and I was like talking to him, and he was like, yeah, I wrestle, and I qualified for state, but I didn't go because I missed the bus. So like he just didn't care. Like, he didn't care at all about. He had no drive for anything, and I was just kind of like, "This is terrible." Like, what the hell is going on? I thought he was like joking with me the whole time, but like literally, like watching him do stuff, I was like, "Yeah, you really have never done anything before." It was so strange, and he was like huge shoulders, huge arms, just insane. And that's when I was like, wow, there's like actually people out there like that. Like, it's nuts.
Right. What was the story on Ronnie Coleman? I had heard, I think it was his high school football coach was talking about it, how he benched 315 the first time he ever bench pressed.
I believe it.
Yeah. Dude. Yeah. It was crazy though, because like he also had like, because he'd never done any of that stuff, he had zero endurance. So it was like we got through like a few exercises and maybe like 6 sets of playing around with different things, and he was like just gassed. He was like, he was super pumped. So he was just like I can't do anymore. Yeah, he was just falling apart, and I was like, wow, like this is crazy, man. But yeah, it's nuts.
It's like I tell people all the time. It's like people for whatever reason, people in bodybuilding have deluded themselves to think genetics aren't a thing. It's like basketball. I played basketball when I was younger. When somebody's 7 feet tall, they don't have to work that hard to be good at basketball. It's sort of the genetic equivalent of that, like Phil Heath, Ronnie Coleman. It's like I think the story was that Ronnie Coleman was eating Denny's and fried chicken before Chad Nichols got a hold of him and prepping for shows that way.
Yeah, that's just insane. Well, I mean, there's Dr. Scott Stevenson's in his book How to Be Your Own Bodybuilding Coach or whatever, talks about all the genetic variables, and it's like down to like your glycemic index of certain foods, to the CAG repeats, to how many androgen receptors one has, to like their response in their microbiome of their gut, to like all these different things. And there's just got to be people in this world where all of those little things that can change dynamically are like perfectly aligned to make this ultra phenomenal human being.
Yeah, it's
so disappointing.
But the sad thing is they don't like. I don't think they ever have to realize the benefit of working hard, you know. And it's like, I wonder if that.
It was
like
nuts.
what
Yeah,
happens if
he just did not care. Like he was like,
right?
Oh, is this good? Like,
They say
like you qualified for state, like and you didn't go. Like what the hell?
Fucking crazy.
Yeah, I slept in.
It's like you hear about these guys that are professional athletes that are just lazy and have never had to work hard. And it's mind-boggling that somebody can make it to that level without ever having to work hard. They are just that genetically gifted that they don't have to do anything.
Well, I guess, I don't know. I guess I could be jealous of them, but then I kind of am guilty when it comes to school.
Yeah.
Like there'd be people that would study their ass off, and I would just murder them on grades. And
I was sort of like that too. I remember my sister got really mad at me. I was sort of like a C student in high school. I just did the bare fucking minimum.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember we went and took the SATs. I think my sister's a year younger than me. She's my Irish. Okay. My mom literally was pregnant like a month after she had me. I don't know how that's even possible, but yeah, my sister and I were only like a year apart. But my sister was just straight A student, worked her ass off in school, and I just did the bare minimum. It was fucking high all the time. And I remember we went. I found out I had to take the SATs to go in college. I did nothing to prepare for it, and I think I got like a 1500 on the SAT. And my sister was like 11 something, and she was so mad. She was telling me I cheated and all this shit. I'm like, I swear I didn't.
Yeah,
that's where it is. Yeah, school was always easy for me too. I just did the bare minimum and got by.
That's the other thing that's crazy, like about that kid. Like he lived in like the building next to the gym was like what do you call it? People that like live on welfare and shit. Like he
Section 8 living.
Yeah. So he lived in a building like that and like barely had food to eat. Wasn't like didn't care about school, didn't know anything. It's like shit, man. Like if you just had like a little bit of drive for
Did he ever do anything with you? Like did he ever become a client or anything?
No, I saw him that one time, and then I'd see him in the gym here and there, just like walking around doing random stuff, and that was the end of it. Yeah.
I feel like being genetically elite can kind of inherently make you lazy though. Honestly, like you already look good, you're not gonna be super motivated to go to
like why push
genetics in the world. I have to go work out.
Yeah
100%.
I always used to call that the hot chick phenomenon, where I would basically like say to a girl that was struggling, I was like, look, the problem is you're just too good looking. So now that you, for the first time in your life, you actually have to try and you don't know how. It's like you're like born a 9. So going from a 9 to a 10 from a 9 is hard as fuck. I could take a 4 and get her to a 9 faster. I could get you from a 9 to a 10 because she doesn't like being ugly. So she's going to try to be hot. You're getting everything you could possibly want out of life without trying. So why would you try?
I've given up on trying to be hot. I just want big muscles, man. My fat head, I can't fix that. That ship has set sail.
You just gotta get bigger, make your head look smaller. That's
I do have a lot of lady boys that are fans. They message me all the time on Instagram.
From like Thailand? Are they friends with Steve?
I don't know if he looks deep enough into where they're from. Where are you
whenever it's some super hot girl from Asia, I just assume that it's a dude because I can't tell for sure. And then it's like, that girl's way too hot to be messaging me. She must be a dude.
That's my first assumption. If I get somebody hot messaging me, I'm like, it's got to be a dude.
It's got to be a dude.
It's got to be a dude. There's no other way. Man, talking about some cycles. I changed my contest prep cycle up last week. John Jewett inspired me, and I lowered my test and my Primo and put in a bunch of Master on. Holy crap, my body just transformed overnight.
Really?
Wait, hold on. Wait. Are you saying that you decreased Primo and increased Master on?
Yes.
Okay, cool. Just making sure I heard that correctly.
And when you say your body changed, like I heard you talking to Steve, so it wasn't necessarily fullness; it was more.
Oh, I just hardened up immediately, man. It was crazy.
Yeah. Do you think that was because you had a higher degree of estrogen with the Primo and then maybe?
Probably. I mean, I'm a high estrogen converter to begin with, typically, although it's gotten less as I've gotten older. I don't. But it was wild how much I hardened up in just a week.
Yeah,
it was. I'll show you the. Hang on, I'll show you pictures.
And you were using Rebound, right?
Yeah, I'm using Rebound. So I was doing a 1250 test in 800 milligrams of Primo. So I lowered the test down to 750, lowered the Primo down to 600, and I'm doing 800 Master on now. So for people that say the Master on and Primo are the same, they are certainly not. I get a very different effect from it.
So I wanted to show that Kurt video you did where Kurt was saying that Primo was the best. Master on's almost the same as Primo. And then he listed off 2 additional flaws of Primo. It elevates ALT rating. And then there was a third one that I forgot about.
Hematocrit.
Hematocrit. Yeah. So I'm like, let me get this straight. So me running 1,000 Primo last year for over a year, and I had an ALT rating that slowly escalated and a hematocrit that was above average. Had I used my Master on instead that whole year, I probably would be better off. So Master on
cross striation in your quads, man.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, this was just all right. So let me show you last week just to show you the difference. So this is crazy, man. In 1 week, this is last week.
Okay, that's Primo.
Yeah, isn't that nuts?
I changed
nothing with my diet.
No,
that would have to be a difference of estrogen, right? Surely with the decreased test and switching.
Especially that's what I body alteration.
Like what's the weight difference between those?
About the same.
Oh, it's about the same. Yeah. Wow. That's very crazy.
So the other thing is perhaps the less liver toxicity means less water retention in that regard.
Possibly.
I mean, I'm barely doing any cardio right now, too.
Master and it hurts less, right?
An ethate.
Okay. Wow.
Yeah, the legs definitely came out a lot.
Yeah, isn't that nuts, though?
Yeah,
I mean, just crazy. 1 week, man. I mean, I did get a tan, so, that there is that illusion as well. But
still, like, that's a huge difference. Like, just looking at the legs, like, that's insane.
I mean, this is not even one week apart. It's like 6 days, I think. So, yeah, that's
crazy.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy, man. So I'm sold on. John sold me on that.
Wow. So did you get your Primo from AP?
From where?
AP, Anabolic Pharmacist?
No.
Okay.
No, I have a different source. But yeah, I don't know, but I mean, that's a noticeable change. That's the only thing that changed, really. My diets. I'm still eating a shit ton of food. I'm doing cardio, four 20-minute cardio sessions a week. That's it right now. And my high days are still 950 grams of carbs. I'm doing 500 on my medium days and 200 on my low days, around 200.
That's pretty fucking good, dude. That's crazy.
Yeah. I was 264 yesterday. So
just one high day a week?
One high day a week, yeah.
Wow. That's pretty good.
So I'm interested to see what happens when I throw Tren in.
Yeah.
I missed the totals. What were your totals again?
For the food or the gear?
The gear.
750 tests, 600 Primo, 800 Master on.
Okay. It's a little bit higher than I was at. And what your GH is still at 10?
I'm doing 9.5. I pulled down to 5 on, 2 off because my hands have been getting numb.
Okay.
Yeah, it's weird. That comes and goes for me. It's like some days it's like a bitch, and then other days it doesn't even happen.
Yeah, it was really bad the other day. I woke up in the morning, I could not feel my left hand at all.
Yeah, it's usually my right always.
It was completely numb, but I'm running half Serostem, half generic. Yeah. So that's what I'm running right now.
Kolton, you posted about that the other day, right? You guys standard protocols to switch to every other day when that happens.
Yeah.
How long
do you usually do
for?
If usually it's just I keep it that way. If people have an adverse reaction, I usually don't switch unless we lower the dose, and then we'll move to every other day. I look at it as like a weekly average of growth hormones, to be honest. So as long as they're on average doing so much per day, that it's fine by me.
Yeah, and I kind of. It's also like the hand numbness, like it's probably going to happen once you get so high, but it's more like if you can't handle it, then switch to every other day, you know, but It's like, I'll put up with it.
Yeah. It's the cost to doing business at a certain point, you know?
Yeah.
I mean, like, what I want to understand is why does it matter? Like, what do you need to have sensation in your hands for?
I mean, sometimes it just flat. It's so numb it hurts.
Yeah,
well, that's different.
Like picking up.
Yeah, it gets serious. Sometimes.
I'm on the computer all day long. I can't type if I can't feel my damn hands.
I use just my phone. I only need my thumbs for my phone.
It's literally crippling for my job. I mean, I'm typing all day long, so I can't. I have to feel my hands.
Oh, okay. Hello.
Oh, okay.
Whatever.
Like numb hands.
Have a very like good answer. It's like I don't use my hands for much.
That's called the stranger, right?
I was recently talking to hands. What was it, Todd? A couple of months ago, we were talking, and you're telling me you don't have a computer. I'm like, you mean you're doing all your check-ins on your phone? How the fuck do you do that, man?
Wait, are you serious?
I do everything on my phone. The only time I use my computer is this. Yeah, I do everything on my phone.
How do you do that?
With my hands like this.
He's not.
That's insane.
Ever since COVID, we haven't even played D&D in person. We just play on our phones. So we have to.
Oh, really?
We do Discord, and then we turn the cameras on if we have to. But usually, we can show a map on the screen, and then you can just say where you're moving. But the problem is, I'm the only person who knows cardinal directions, like north, south, east, and west. So if I'm like, I'm going to move 15 meters northwest, and then I'm going to attack this person, then I'm going to shoot the guy in the southeast corner. The other people playing can't figure out what I'm doing. So
you also record your YouTube on your phone as well?
No, I used to, but I switched to this laptop when someone mailed me one. And I got this camera and this mic because and I got the ring light because my quality was such shit.
I convinced Todd what we do that a computer is necessary. It's like a carpenter that's using his hand as a hammer.
Yeah, that's ridiculous, man. How many check-ins do you do a week? Do you think?
Not that many, like 30.
That's still a lot, man. On a phone, holy shit.
It's not really.
Who is a lot on a phone?
Yeah,
what?
That's so much. What do you use? Man. Do you use Google Excel, or like what do you use for your programming?
Yeah. Okay. So, yeah, basically, I sent you a program. It was on it's the Google Sheet. I use Google Docs, and then there's a shared doc folder, and then there's a shared Sheets folder, and they fill in their programming. I do their programming, and then they have a separate document, which is their logbook, and then they have a daily tracker log, and I just basically they're supposed to send me a link, but a lot of times people forget, so I just go back and forth. When they email in, I know to check it, and then if they send pictures, I look at their pictures, and then I cut and paste their subjective assessment of the week, and then I address things paragraph by paragraph. And I'm the only person I've ever met who does numbers, where if I have 7 questions, I go 1, question 1, 2, question 2, 3, question 3. Everybody else is just this big sea of words with feelings in it. And I'm supposed to interpret what the fuck that means and then sound like human and respond to it. But it's like, it'd be so much easier if it was like, would you like me to increase my sets on the lat pull down to 3 since I'm not sore at 2? And then I could just binary answer yes, but it's never like that. It's always like pulling teeth, like, are you sore? Yeah, sometimes. It's like, how sore are you? Sort of sore. It's like, okay, well, Are you so sore that it overlaps? What's that mean? It's like, are you so sore that when the next time you do lats, they're sore from the last time you did lats? I don't know. It's like, okay, well, we have it in the tracker so that you're supposed to record a numerical value for soreness on each body part each day. Yeah, I don't fill that out. That's a lot of work. It's like, okay, just keep doing 2 sets. You know, like there's nothing I can do. Without the feedback, I can't adjust so that takes a whole week because it's an email back and forth thing.
The IT consultant in me is cringing at this workflow.
What?
I said the IT consultant in me is cringing at this workflow.
Yeah. Well, but the thing is how should I put this? It's like, if you can't care more than them. So like, if they don't care enough to even absorb the information to regurgitate it to you, then there's no way that you can interpret the data. Like, they don't pay attention to how sore their own body is. Like, when I roll out of bed, I'm immediately do a diagnostic tech. Like, I'm a mech warrior. Like, I'm like tricep left, 2 out of 10 soreness, tricep right, 3 out of 10 soreness, bicep left, 2 out of, it's like yellow, orange, red. Oh, we're not doing traps today. Green for lats. Quads. Okay, knee is red, quad is green. You know, like, I basically go through like it's a mech warrior and a heads up display. And then I annotate it every day when I wake up, like, how exactly sore am I? It's like, okay, I've got a 2 in soreness in lats and a 1 in soreness in biceps. If I have back today, if I get to 7 p.m. and I'm not at 0, this motherfucker's resting an extra day, and everyone can call me lazy, but I don't want to go in there and miss my numbers when I could wait till tomorrow.
What? So
methodology to training.
Maybe you could like put it in different language for them, you know, because some people are just kind of, they don't know the lingo.
I think the thing is that no matter how you explain it, it's going to hit some people, not others. So luckily, I made these videos on how to grow legs, how to grow back, how to grow.
Yeah, we're really good too. Check them out.
Week.
Yeah, they were good.
Thanks. So like, now my clients are messaging me like, now I understand how to lift. And I was just like, okay, great. I should have done these videos years ago. Oh yeah, I did. I got banned. So it's like, the thing is it's like the 450 videos you did from 2014 to 2018 get taken down. You don't remember to what you have taught and what you haven't taught. And then plus there's people who are finding you for the first time last month. They've never seen a fucking thing you did. And they've never watched anyone ever except for Athlete X or like, what's his name? Eubanks.
V-Shred or,
like some fucking tweenie bopper who's got nothing except for good lighting. And it's like, so they have no clue what they're doing and they're hiring you, but they've been doing it for 20 years. So they think they know everything. And it's like, all right, this is what you're supposed to do. So you say like 2 sets. And then they don't get that that's 2 work sets. And then you say it's 2 work sets. And they're like, okay. But they don't say, I don't know what a work set is. It's like, it's the set where you wish God would strike you dead. You are in so much suffering by the end of the set. But you keep going because you're
Are you gonna be at, I'm sorry to interrupt. Are you gonna be at Swiss, Todd?
Yeah.
I would love to do a training session with you, man. That'd be fun.
Awesome. I would love that too. We're gonna have a gym date. Okay.
Yeah, gym date.
I can't be trusted with self-monitoring because I don't know what my issue is. I have like no ability to perceive pain. I literally trained for 2 months with a completely ruptured ACL and had no idea. My knee felt loose.
That's why RIR is hard for me. I'm going to try an experiment starting next week where I use RIR, and it's hard because like I tried it today and I was like, where is 2 RIR or 3 RIR? And it's hard for me to feel because it's like usually I just go to straight failure and like, oh shit, I went too far.
I think one of the benefits of RIR that a lot of people overlook is it really makes you pay attention to what you're doing and really focus on the muscle to be like, okay, do I have 3 left? Do I have 2 left? Like, where am I at? And really focusing on how things are feeling as you're like pushing through stuff. It just, as opposed to be like, I'm going to failure, and you just kind of like go, and you're like, where is it? When's it happening? Oh, there it is. You know.
I used to only program RIR, but then I found out maybe 1 out of 20 people could accurately train because I require feedback videos. I hold people's workouts hostage until I get videos because like most people can't execute very basic movement patterns.
Right.
But hold their workouts hostage till I get the videos. RIR did not work out well for the majority of my clients. Like very few people were actually able to do it.
Yeah.
I find that, okay, so 2 big points there. One, I also am training to failure, and then I fail, and I have no idea I was even close to failure. Right?
Right.
So
Colin's being funny on vacation. He says RIR is basically edging for the muscles.
That makes a lot of sense now.
So what I found was if I fail on 12 for 3 weeks straight, then that means that's probably my RIR 0. So when I do a deload, come back, and I'm programming an RIR -3, that means 9, because 12 is 0, 9 is -3. I don't use subjectivity. I simply use objectivity and calculate out what the regular RIR is. So thus the progression would be week 1 is 9, week 2 is 10, week 3 is 11, week 4 is 12, week 5 should be 13.
Okay.
And then if I don't need a deload, I keep going. If I need a deload, I would re-deload. And that way, each mesocycle, you're gaining 1 rep, which is shit progression, but I'm 44 and I've been lifting 32 years. I'm not expecting to get a lot of progression anymore. So, so for people who can grow quickly, they're going to be making some, and that, like, the other thing is a lot of people, as they approach failure, their form breaks down because they don't have the skill. They don't have the coordination that, like we talked about genetics before. There's this woman who is a gymnast. She could see me do a set and she could replicate it perfect the very first time. She didn't even have to do it. There's a lot of people like that. She could just replicate it. And then there's people where they look like they have a severe neurological disability and they can't lift for shit no matter what, even in a machine.
Yeah.
It's like even the amplitude, the fucking tempo, nothing is consistent. There's no way to help them. They're fucked. They have to take everything to failure, and it forms breaking down like every rep. It's like, what the fuck is going on?
I'm trying to remember what we used to call those, like mobile morons or something like that. I just don't know how to move. I can't remember. We had a term for that.
There's non-athletic fuck.
Yes. So like you would never program someone with that with a compound movement like squatting, benching, deadlifting. They don't have what it takes. They pretty much have to be on unilateral machines where they're locked in completely. Even the hack squat, they'll fuck it up.
There are some people that just don't have that hand-eye coordination. Thank God I didn't get it, but my dad, I remember like trying to play sports with my dad when I was a kid. You throw a baseball at him and it hit him square in the forehead.
That's like me, man.
Catch anything.
That whole gymnast thing you were talking about is really wild, though. Like how they see something and they just pick up on it immediately.
Well, they're very aware of their bodies. They train their whole life.
It's nuts how it's
like wrestlers too.
To train them. Yeah,
I think wrestlers and martial arts guys do really well in the gym too.
Yeah,
I've seen because they're very, very, very aware of their bodies.
Yeah. That's how my wife was when I first started training her. Was there's just like she could do like anything because all what I'd have to do is just show her, and then she would just like hop on and be able to do it. And it was like, wow, like it makes it a lot of fun. But
Todd, I made a video reviewing kind of the experiment I'm going to do on YouTube. If you go watch it, check it out. Tell me what you think.
Well, okay. What do you mean? Like
it's for training. I'm trying the whole RIR thing now and like implementing.
Okay. That's context. I got you. All right. Yeah, I should be. I don't have an in-gym filmer, whatever they're called, photographer, videographer. I think I've got someone on the hook that might follow through with this, but
I'll do it.
I bought all the.
You're in Texas. I'm in Michigan.
Yeah, move to Texas.
I have all the expensive camera equipment. Maybe we can film some stuff when we're at Swiss.
Oh yeah,
that might be fun. It would just be cool if I had like some type of minion that followed me around and filmed, because my content would be way better if I actually had even kitchen content. Like everyone's like, how do I make chicken and rice with peas and carrots? And I give them a description. But if I literally had someone stand there and hold a phone and I did it, it would be so much easier. Because I can't fucking film myself cooking with one hand.
There's this thing called a tripod.
Yeah,
man, you and your fancy shit.
But Todd, you have so many fans, man. Just put it out there on Instagram, and someone would probably love to do that shit.
It's the thing about it is it's so hard to find somebody that has a good eye for it. Because like I've had a couple different camera people,
and they're all just like
they don't know what to look like if they don't work out. Like that's the hard part.
Zooming out.
is finding someone that knows how to work out. So it's like,
why did you film my face?
Right. So I'll be like going through.
But you're like so intense. I was like,
and
I don't
editing.
give a fuck about my face.
I was doing like a back exercise, and for whatever reason, because like I would just like put him on autopilot, and I would just start doing my workout or whatever. It was like a back workout, and then I'm like going through and editing stuff. And for some reason, there was a exercise where I really wanted him to like look more at like the shoulder blades, and it turns out he was like zoomed in on my chest, and I'm like, what the fuck are we looking at here?
Jorge asked Todd, he said, weren't you coached by Kuba a while ago? He's very detailed about the
training part.
I think he meant trained by JP. Yeah. I think is what something.
Yeah. So yes, I did hire Kuba, and the good part of the relationship was if I was struggling to do a exercise the way he wanted it done, I would send him a video, and he would basically give me form feedback on that video. And that was pretty much that. I mean, if you like very complicated, elaborate meals that are completely different, that are very micro focused, then that's great. If you like really, really strict, rigid, unbending rules, like you must go to bed at 11 p.m. regardless of your circadian rhythm or lifestyle, you must do this, you must do that, then that's for you. But if for me, it's like more like I basically want someone to help me adjust my volume, to look at my physique week to week and tell me if I'm getting fat or if I'm gaining muscle or what, because I can't objectively view myself, and to tell me how to adjust my calories. And I know enough about nutrition to handle my own food. I know enough about training to pick my own high SFR movements.
I don't even bother with training anymore. I just don't even tell people what to do. If they want my program, they have it. It's such a battle with training. People get I just focus on the diet, to be honest with you. If I can get people eating well, I can get them looking pretty good for the most part.
Yeah. It's gotten to the point where I'll build someone a program, and I take a lot of time on it, and it's very intricate and detailed and specific to what they ideally need. And it's like, well, I want to change this. And it's like, by the time I'm done changing the things that they wanted, it's like, well, you just made your own training program. Congratulations.
And it's like, really hard to be effective. I used to train in person. I worked as an in-person trainer all through college. I did 5 years of it. It's really, really hard to relay it over an email.
Yeah. So hard, dude.
I found clients with training and the boredom that comes with it. And like, you follow my accounts on my social medias, and I give you a program, and you want to change it up, and then you're going to film it, post it, tag me in it as if I don't know the program I built for you. Like, if you're lagging and you test or something, and we build a program around that, and you spend half of your program doing something else, like, I'm going to notice. People get bored. They want to switch the workouts after 3 weeks. And I'm like, well, you look like trash in week 2. Why would we switch things in week 3? You can't even master a basic movement. Like, the training has been, I'd say that's so much more frustrating than someone that has lack of dietary compliance.
Yeah. Go ahead, Todd.
So what I'm hearing is that the skill level of the customer client base is so low that they don't even know how low it is to appreciate what you're giving. It's like pearls before swine. So you don't even bother wanting to throw out the pearls. And I guess that's my point, is that I feel like it's my responsibility as like the gym daddy or whatever to like, okay, I have to teach you how to lift, because I could give you the best food in the world, but anyone can do that. I can tell you how to use gear, and maybe I'm better than other people, but for the most part, the part that sucks ass horribly and why your body's ugly and your joints hurt is because you lift like shit. And so like I have to basically teach people how to lift, because it's like a responsibility as their coach to fix what's most broken. And in 99.999% of people, what's most broken is their training. And they think that it's 80% nutrition. I'm like, it's 80% nutrition when you lift like shit. Then the only variable that actually matters is the nutrition. But if you actually lifted right, it would be really important.
I think it's maybe partly that, but it's also just due to people's inability to value doing long things for a long period of time. You know, like
then you can't succeed at anything.
Exactly. And that's kind of the
you
hard
can't
part.
possibly succeed at anything if you're not willing to commit years of hard work that's boring. I tell them it's not funning out, it's working out. Do you like going to work? Is it fun to go to work? Do you go to a different building every time you drive to work? Do you go at a different time of day? Do you sit at a different desk? Do you type on a different computer? No, you do the same fucking thing every day when you go to work. So when you go to the gym, you do the same fucking boring thing, whether you like it or not.
You're not building a physique for yourself. You're building a physique to judging guidelines and judging standards. Like, it's not
really
for
good point.
at that point. So it's not for fun. Like, you can enjoy the process, but if you're lagging in a certain body part just because you don't want to bring it up, doesn't mean it's not going to happen.
That's a good point.
My lifestyle clients, I'll switch things up if they want. Like, I'm pretty flexible there. But if you're trying to build a physique for competition, you do what I say. Period.
So one of Karina's ideas was in their spreadsheet, there's, the name of the exercise, how many reps, how many sets, like what the rep range is. And then there's the category of what's the macro term for that lift. And so basically I tell them, like, you can substitute out a hip hinge for a hip hinge, or a shortened bicep contraction for a shortened bicep contraction, or a lengthened bicep contraction for a lengthened bicep contraction. But you can't do it very frequently. We have to at least get a solid mesocycle of 4 to 6 weeks to acquire enough data to see whether or not this is good SFR movement for you. And it's one of those things where they're either willing to learn the terminology of how to do this or they're not. And if they don't want to learn, they wouldn't have hired me in the first place. I mean, I feel like if you throw enough highbrow shit at people, they either shut down or they perk up. And it's the people that perk up that are like, I want this guy to do it. If they want basically like training simple, just eat, sleep, and grow. And if you think about anything that involves words more than 6 letters, then you're overthinking it, that they would go with someone else. Because I'm going to be very nuanced with everything I do.
Yeah, I think we've kind of gotten a little too far away from like focusing on training and focusing a lot more on like nutrition and drugs and all of that stuff, because training, like, it is a huge thing, and to a lot of us I think we think it's really simple, but to a lot of
I will say that's
they don't know,
right?
Yeah, that we're all the way up here and the average person's way down here, and they think they're here.
Yeah, it really sucks though that like it's so hard to make training content that people want to watch. It's like you make it and it's no fucking views.
It's slow and methodical, and no one wants to watch it.
I would tell you, watching my videos.
I think that's a thing.
What's that?
I have that advantage.
What was that, DJ?
What was it?
I'm a girl, so I can just wear shorts and do RDLs.
Yeah, literally.
That's true. I'm like, damn it! If I
some video.
Hamstring adductor split. Yeah, everyone loves that.
What I find was a cool idea, and this is what I did: is I did like a leg video, and then I did 2 shorts of leg videos of like I like Panada, what do you call it, belt squat, and I like SLDLs. But those are the technical ones, right? You don't have to do a video on an isolation move. So I put those 2 in the shorts, and that way it's like if they're really paying attention, they can watch the video. And or another way, if I had like a good editor, while I'm talking about it in this, while I'm like doing my spiel, there could be in the video inside of it of me doing the exercise. If I had like the editing guy who knew what he was doing and shit with like whatever you call it, Camtasia or whatever. And then that way they're not really watching a training only video, which would be boring, but they're watching you lecturing about it.
So that's what
like
my
Justin
training
Shire
videos
does really good. Yours are like that too. Is you'll you'll do a set, you'll talk. You'll do a set, you'll talk. You'll do a set, you'll talk.
Well, so I lately though, it's like I don't even talk about the workout. I just like do the sets, and I talk about drugs, and that people watching because they don't give a shit. I'm just like, oh, you can see what I'm doing, you know what exercises I'm doing, but
I've tried making training videos. They get no views.
Yeah.
They get no views, and then invariably when I do make training videos, people are all the time like, "Well, your form is awful in here, and you should be doing this." And I'm like, "Jesus fucking Christ, man! You have no idea what you're talking about."
It's annoying. Yeah.
I literally, it was funny. I put, I've been poking at people on Instagram. I've been putting these, I call them obvious truths, but I've been putting these things up. And I put this one up the other day about bench presses are only good for tearing pecs. And oh my God, man, that thing got I think it got close to 1,000 comments. It was insane. Wow. It was insane. But what made me laugh is there must have been 75 people that said they tore their pecs on bench presses, and then you have the assholes who say, "Oh, you can't tear your pec on bench presses."
That's why I stopped doing it. Yeah, I was scared to death that it was going to happen, and I got like one little tweak. I was like, okay, I'm done with these. That's enough.
Yeah, that's another example of where it's fun, but it's not the utility behind it is just not there.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I talked about this with people. I mean, the way I evaluate exercise choice is, and I know Todd does the same thing, but this is a Mike Israel thing, is the cost versus benefit, or the cost versus risk.
Stimulus or the fatigue ratio.
Yeah, the risk versus reward, ratio of something. So, you know, like I look at something like a bench press, it's not that great for pec development, to be honest with you, and the risk is very high. So I'm like, why would you do that in a bodybuilding routine other than serving your own ego?
Yeah. I mean, it's number one thing is everybody's got a hurt shoulder and they can do 315 for 2 reps and they have no chest. I was at the gym and some girls said, like, why don't you bench? And I was like, have you ever seen someone who benches who has a big chest? And they're like, no. I'm like,
look at every power lifter.
They have big arms, but no big chest.
Yeah.
Unless it's tits.
Yeah, I mean, if you think about it, you're pressing out like this and away
not
from
convergent.
Right. You should, like, the fibers are going this way, so you should be pressing like this
That's
way.
Right. What the chest does. This is what bench does. It's no bueno. It's like no point to this. Yeah. It works this part of your pec. Like you'll get a big outer pec. It'll cover up.
Yeah. And you get the fat ass into your delt, and that's it.
Yeah.
Well, my power lifters, so I don't touch powerlifting programming. I just do their nutrition. But I go through their programs, and it's all specified and written out to where they can basically recruit like every muscle group except for what you would think would be the target muscle group in all of their lifts. It's how can you effectively recruit every single muscle in your body, get as much exterior drive as possible while still hitting the requirements to get a green light, basically. It's interesting to see how their programming is set up.
It's completely different.
For bodybuilding.
Yeah, with it's going to be glutes, quads, lats, triceps is how they bench.
And especially the female variations for the benches are
those are interesting.
The crazy wide grip where they move the bar about 3 inches.
Yep. Because that way, there's a video where there's this Chinese girl, and she literally, her range of motion was that.
I saw that. Yeah, what you're talking about.
Yeah. I was like, oh man.
DJ, do you coach mostly men or women?
I'm probably about 50-50. I think I have more men right now, but usually about 50-50.
That's interesting.
Do you get most of your clients from Instagram?
No, I suck at Instagram. I just post pictures of my dogs. Mostly TikTok.
TikTok.
TikTok is where I get the majority of my clients. And it's weird because I have even my demographic on there is 50-50 male, female.
Wow.
My audience is.
Whoa, where'd she go?
DJ?
Oh no,
she's back.
Now
she's mute though.
Can't hear you.
He's talking to somebody.
We lost you. I mean, my audience is 98% guys when I look at it.
Too.
Do we want to
still mute?
Let's get some questions.
Let's get some questions. I don't have Colin here to keep things organized today.
She doesn't know. I'm going to text her. It's like.
All right, so let's see here. Josh, this is a question for you, Kolton. Josh M. Asked, let's see here. He's like, Kolton, how does CP affect your bodybuilding?
Yeah. So I have cerebral palsy. Todd just found out about this a little bit ago. It's mostly affects my right leg. So I don't have to necessarily worry about upper extremities. It's just more my lower body. I guess for me, like, I don't see it as much of I don't know. It's not much of an issue. I just train legs mostly unilaterally, and that's kind of the way I go about it. And I work on a lot of tempo work, just because it's a lot easier to control. And obviously my right leg's significantly weaker because I just don't have the neurological capacity to fire that muscle. So it's just a lot of unilateral work for legs and a lot of slow controlled movements with, you know, I do have to perform a little bit less volume on legs overall because the recovery capacity is quite shit. But overall it's not too different. I think I don't like to use it as an excuse, at least, I guess. How
does your right leg look relative to your left leg?
It's smaller. Like when I pose, it's like behind my left leg. I could probably show you, but you wouldn't be able to see much of it. It's more like below my knee is really bad. So like my calf on my right leg is really small compared to my left. Quad is okay. If you were staring at it for a long time, you'd be able to see, oh wow, that quad's smaller. But you wouldn't be able to tell just like in passing. So
it'll affect your front double bicep unless you spike a leg. It'll affect your front lat spread. But on your side chest and your side tricep, you can
always do the left leg. Yeah.
And then with your rear shots, you can either put the right leg as your base leg and spike your left leg, or if you wanted them to balance out, you could put your bad leg back, which I wouldn't do.
No.
So it really only and your most muscular and ab and thigh, you can also do asymmetrical legs. So you really only get fucked in one pose, your front lat spread.
Right, and the front relaxed. And on stage, if I put my right leg in front of my left, so I displace them like this, it makes the leg look significantly bigger to the judges.
Oh, that's a smart way to do it.
Yeah, you put your right foot over the line and your left leg behind the line, and it creates symmetry.
Yeah. Okay. And it looks goofy, like doing it where you are, but when you take a picture of it, it's like, oh shit, that actually looks good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's interesting. Well, I'd say you've done pretty well, Kolton.
Well, no one would know if you didn't tell them.
No one would know.
That's the goal. That's the goal.
Hopefully no judges watch this show.
You think they would care?
Well, if they don't know, they really don't see it. But if they knew, they couldn't help but not see it.
They would look for it. Good point.
Well, they would automatically see it.
Do you think they would give me brownie points, though?
No.
DJ, we have you back.
I just disappeared. I don't know what happened.
Yeah,
there we go.
For a while. Yeah.
All right. Let's see here. Let's see. Next question. S225 says, is it okay to mix GH and HCG together in the same pen? Sorry. Pencil Tren.
Yeah, it's okay. I do it at least. I mean, Todd puts this in his oil.
Yeah, I know. Todd mixes everything together. I don't know, man.
Not the acid base for the IGF-1. When you mix the insulin and the acid from the IGF-1, it turns cloudy. So I know there's a reaction that takes place that the acid fries the insulin, but everything else is pretty much kosher.
I'm OCD, man. Like HGH is so fucking expensive. I don't want to do anything to risk screwing it up.
Yeah, I've had insulin.
I split all mine up just because I'm paranoid. So
I've had insulin make my GH cloudy. So
I've seen that
I don't
too.
mix anymore. Yeah,
I've seen that too. So I was like, okay, let's just do an extra pin, whatever.
Yep.
If you want to play it conservative S225, I would not mix, but I mean, you do what you want, but I wouldn't do it. GH is too expensive to risk, I think.
I just found out that kosher means something was blessed by a rabbi.
Yes,
it could be. It's one of the solutions. So, for example, there's this place called Jerusalem.
Here we go
near my house, and they actually have a rabbi on staff to bless the pizzas because you normally can't mix dairy and meat in the same meal.
Yeah,
but if it's been blessed after,
well, you're Jewish, right, Todd? Yeah.
I'm like 1/17 Jewish or something. No, I'm like 17% Jewish. So like the point is, I would call them and I'd order a bacon pizza, and then they would hang up on me. But it's
my girlfriend's Jewish, so I'm very familiar.
Yeah, it's like it's just I don't know why that was so funny to me, but I love the sound of them being upset. It's like you literally have a rabbi on staff. You can bless the pizza. It's gonna be okay. No one will know but us. And they're like, we don't even have bacon here. I was like, fine.
Chase wants to know, when is your Sam Sulek style full week of eating video coming out?
I am Okay, so I've played around with filming some of this stuff, and there's no way I could do a week of that. Like I tried 6, because he has like 6 donuts pre-workout with like milk.
Sick
with milk.
Oh man, gross.
Well, so like his thing is he tries to get in 400 grams of carbs within like the morning before he lifts. So like 400 grams of carbs before getting to the gym.
That sounds horrible.
Spread out across a couple meals.
Have you seen his diet? It's absolute trash.
It's ridiculous. But like one of those meals is typically like 6 donuts and some milk, and another one of those meals is cinnamon toast crunch and shit like that. So I just, as like a tester, just to be like, how would I feel if I did this? I tried 6 donuts. I hadn't had milk in forever. Had bought some milk, put it with some protein powder. I wanted to pass out, and like I was so tired. I felt so bloated. I got through my workout, but after my workout, I just felt so terrible. Like I didn't want to eat. I just wanted to lay down and go to sleep. And I was like, no, I definitely can't do a week of this. This is absolutely awful. So I'll probably do a day and just give my like perspective on like, this is probably not a good idea, because I felt like like it just, after that, the rest of my day was fucking ruined. Like I just felt awful after that.
If I did that, I would need an adult diaper while I worked out.
Yeah, so I was just like
burping
and like farting. It was so bad. It was so, I was like, and if you watch his videos though, like he burps a ton in his videos.
I mean, he's what, like 21 or something? He's young.
Yeah, he's super young.
I ate like shit when I was that age.
Wild.
Well,
I was just
your
like,
intestines are more efficient at that age because they're less old.
Yeah, and you have more of actual like lactase production.
Yeah, and I was thinking about it. Like I rarely get like 400 grams in before my workout. Like usually I get
That's
like
a lot.
It's a lot. Yeah, usually I get like two meals in before I train, and there's maybe like 200 between, something like that, and then I have an intra workout and pre-workout. But so then I did that like with his food, felt terrible, and I was like, okay, well, what if I do it with rice instead and do like a couple meals of like 200 grams of rice? And that was fine. Like that, I didn't want to pass out, didn't feel bloated, but they were big meals, like meals of like 600 grams
of rice.
Yeah, it's a lot of rice, but it sure as hell felt a whole lot fucking better than eating fucking donuts. For sure. It was ridiculous.
I couldn't do it.
So sick.
Which I predicted anyway, but I was just like, I didn't think it was going to be that bad. I just felt miserable. Yeah.
I experimented this week with some, off-plan foods and stuff, see what they did. Like, because it was getting really hard to get all the food in after midnight. I have 3 meals or some shit when I get home from the gym at midnight, and I got 3 meals left. I found that I was able to assimilate Pop-Tarts fine, but like everything else was not. Like I tried Burger King last night just to see what it would be like. McDonald's was closed. Like it was, Kolton made me want McDonald's with one of his videos. Yeah. And then every time I go to McDonald's, it's closed. It's like, who the fuck closes a McDonald's? So it's like, so I got the same meal at Burger King, think it'd be the same. The difference is it's 30 more grams of fat. And I got pretty much immediate diarrhea after having Burger King within like an hour. And I was like, okay, this is so fucking awful. I can't believe
I can't take the fats anymore. I don't know about you guys.
Fat. Yeah, there's so like it, going back to Sam's thing. He has like 200 grams of fat in a day.
What?
Like, he eats so much fucking fat. And like most of my days are probably like 60 or less.
He's gonna have a blocked coronary artery by the time he's 30.
He's gonna get
wild.
Not to mention like fatty liver disease and like a dysfunctional pancreas and.
Yeah, I just look terrible when I eat fats. Like even when I'm on 300 grams of carbs, my fats are 45.
Yeah,
wow.
I'm not good on fats at all. That's hard. That's a trash meal plan, but I do it. So
yeah, wow.
What
are your like prep calories typically?
Well, like right now, I'm in a surplus. So I'm at 3,200, but I'm only 4'11. So I'm like,
holy crap!
Oh wow,
that's a lot.
Wow.
And then like Todd and I were talking the other day that I have to I blend up oats to get my carbs in because like I also hate eating, so it sucks to hit 3,200. But I think my last prep, I only got down to like maybe 12, which sounds terrible, but I'm 4'11", so
yeah, that's pretty
most girls
fucking
my
good.
age are like,
No, it's pretty good.
Lucky to hit 750, you know, towards the end. So I did pretty well, and I had pretty moderate cardio.
That's awesome.
I can't do dietary fats. Like that's.
I'm the same way.
I think it's part because I'm Asian. Honestly, I'm like immune to rice. Like I can throw down some carbs, but you know, I look at some fats and then I blow up.
Yeah, I'm looking, DJ. I'm looking at your TikTok. You're doing really well on there. So,
thank you. I like making low quality videos on my phone on my couch.
I mean, you've got a lot of views. Like that's it's really.
Yeah, I'm kind of jealous. Here I am spending like an hour on a video and shit, and it's like really.
TikTok is nice because I don't have any production quality and I'm not real savvy on social media. Yeah. So usually I just get mad or I get like something sets me off and I just sit down, I film something real quick. It doesn't require editing or anything. And you just kind of piecemeal it together, put it up. It auto generates the captions. I don't even go through them and like, you know, correct the weird words that it makes. And I just throw them up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a forgiving platform, but the people are super mean.
Yeah, they're harsh.
You should totally take these and like throw them on YouTube Shorts.
I have a YouTube. I don't know how to work it. I have a channel.
I would literally just take what you have on TikTok and just start throwing them on there and just let it do whatever.
Do you think Shorts is worth it?
What's that?
Do what?
Do you think YouTube Shorts is worth it?
Yeah, man. Like I went pretty hard on it for a while, just strictly training content. And there's the algorithm for YouTube Shorts is pretty wild.
Yeah, I've been doing well with them lately too.
Compared to long form content.
Time limits.
60 seconds. Yeah.
Oh, 60.
Yeah, 60 seconds.
You have to shorten it a little bit.
If you need help, DJ, let me know. I'll help you out.
Yeah, you should. Like it. I mean, just since you have so many on TikTok, like you could just literally just pull them out and put them on there, and you know, who cares if they, you know, don't do as well as TikTok, but it'll at least help build the channel, you know.
I do feel like I tend, especially with like the anabolic stuff, like I do tend to hit a younger demographic on TikTok. And there's so many people that talk about, you know, gear protocols now on the internet. I think it is helpful to be a female in that space because it grabs a little bit of attention.
Yep.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Now, if I were like 10 years younger, I'd really be in business. But I
what difference would that make? You have nondescript age. You like, there's no way to tell how old you are by looking at you.
I mean,
you can pass for 18. You can, yeah. I mean, you don't need to be any younger.
It's true. Nice, the Botox. Thank you.
Yeah, I need to do the same thing though, like the opposite, like YouTube Shorts and start throwing them on TikTok and just not care what they do. You know.
Scott said, "Thanks for having DJ back on an episode where she can actually talk."
Yeah, he said that about 2 hours ago.
You're welcome, Scott.
Yeah, he actually paid money for you to hear that.
Yeah,
that's how much he wants you to have that compliment.
Oh, that's awesome. Thank you.
Yeah, I mean, like, I think that the same video can go on Reels, on YouTube Shorts, and
Instagram. Instagram Reels.
But I started putting it on Instagram though, just because I was afraid my account would get banned. I found out like a lot of PED accounts end up getting banned.
Yeah, you got to be careful.
I don't really understand what's allowed and what's not allowed. So
I don't really put any PED content on Instagram. I don't
anymore unless it's educational, like the Kurt stuff, like where it's scientific.
Yeah.
It's an I've thought about. I was talking to Steve. Steve is a full-time video guy. I thought about hiring a full-time person and just
our shorts guy does it.
Yeah, he does.
Well, I just hired that shorts guy, and I asked him, I was like, can we just make sure that when you make these videos, they're for all 3 or 4 platforms, Twitter, TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube Shorts. And then, I put up the long form, and then you cut out the short or the reel out of that, and then we can spread it to the other 4. And so it looks like he'll be done this week on the first batch of them.
Yeah, he does a good job, but I thought about just getting like a full-time video guy or social media guy just to work for me.
Well, I was talking to somebody about that. I know this high school girl who she now is getting paid $1,000 a week to do it. So I was like, I'll train you in exchange for it. And she said, okay. So she might be following me around the gym and actually shooting the content and then handling the TikTok for me. And then from the TikTok, I can export to the other media. So that might work out.
Yeah.
All right, let me get another question in here. I got a paid one. PW asks, after a bulk, is it good to cruise before cutting to help new tissue to establish?
According to Mike Israetel. I mean, according to John Jewett, yes. Israetel doesn't seem to care.
I think, here's my opinion. I think
20 years, Todd, right?
Oh, was he talking about a cruise as in gear? I thought he meant cruise as in a maintenance phase.
I'm assuming that's what he meant.
Yeah.
I think when you're let's say you go down to cruise, I think you can begin a cut, and then 4 to 5 weeks within the cut, you take a maintenance phase and take another 4 to 5 weeks and then add gear to continue the cut. So you do like a prolonged, because when you take out the gear, you're still going to have those esters titrating down. And so you're still going to be able to hold on to the lean mass. It's not hard to hold on to. And then once you get to the point where you're 5 weeks out, you're 5 weeks into a cut, the esters have probably dwindled, then hit a maintenance phase where you escalate calories to hold on to the muscle, and then implement, once you're healthy and your blood work dictates, another cycle to then finish out the cut. That's how I would do it.
Well, I tell you what, I'm never doing again. I cruised on 120 milligrams of testosterone this winter for 4 months, and that sucked.
Wow.
Why did you do that?
I just wanted to see what I could get away with.
Where did that bring your total test?
I don't know. I never got to test it. I you know what's funny is I actually got stronger during that, but the big thing that I noticed is like my body composition kind of went to shit.
Yeah.
And I hung on all my size. And
how much did you say?
120 milligrams.
Oh, 120. I mean, that's pretty much what my entire February to February last year was.
Wow.
It was like 150 or less for that whole ability protocol.
I mean, my weight didn't change.
I'm on 200 now. My weight's okay. My body composition's good, but I was also using EQ, so it's gonna be in there for a while.
It helps.
Yeah, need to put my glasses on. I can't see these comments. I'm blind.
All right. The lowest I've ever came down to is 400 test, and that was I got fat in like a month on 400 test.
Yeah, like my total test for like from February to February was like 500 total tests or less. There were times where it'd come back at like 200, 230, shit like that. But my blood work looked pretty natty, so it was good.
What does DJ think? I want to hear DJ's thoughts
on cruising, or
would you come down to a cruise after a bulking or massing phase?
I would go back down to a cruise, but I would wait. I would take a prolonged period at a cruising dose before implementing other compounds, depending on what was used prior. But if you have the ability, there's no reason not to implement something secondary during a cut to make sure you hold on, like for extra tissue retention. There's no point in not implementing at that point, as long as blood markers are good to do so.
That's a good point, because Clenbuterol can help, and that's not really deleterious if used at a low enough dose.
I'm actually one of the few people that will say, like, if it's used responsibly, I'm a fan of Clenbuterol, and people take it. I feel like a lot of the issues they experience are from that, typically, not just the Clen.
Yeah, and everybody's too.
Oh yeah, people go nuts with the doses.
Yeah, I mean, if you use like a small dose of anything, you shouldn't even notice you're on it.
Yeah.
And I think the Clen specifically, though, as soon as like the shakes and kind of some of the motor dysfunction that comes with it, right as a dosage changes or titrates, as soon as that dissipates, people freak out and they think it's no longer effective. That's been proven. Like, you're not going to see any downregulation of the beta receptors for 12 weeks.
Yeah.
But they lose that shakiness, and then they just titrate up, and in like 2 weeks they're at like 120 micrograms. So of course you're going to have issues. Like, if you're just skyrocketing to ceiling dosages right off the bat, I think that's where most people run into issues with it. I'm actually of it.
Where's your peak dosage? Like, I'm not conservative with it by any means, but where's your peak dosages?
Personally, I like to use like 100, 120, maybe 150, dependent on someone's size. For someone like me, I probably wouldn't push past like 60 or 80, which is crazy because I have like a super high tolerance. Like, I have no issues with it. But it depends on individual tolerance, threshold, and response. Like, my husband's last prep, I don't think he ever went above 60, honestly.
Wow.
Yeah.
And normally 80 is like baseline where I would like to see someone his size, but we never.
I maxed out at 80 last year. That's all I took.
Yeah, the most I took was 120, but I still didn't even.
I've done 200 before.
I have not done that.
200?
Yeah, I've done 200 before.
That's a lot.
Does that fuck you up? Like, I feel fucked on 40 micrograms. Like,
I mean, by the time I'm on 200 Clen, I'm on like over 1,000 Tren, and I'm on like a bunch of other shit, like a 75 Anavar a day. Like, you've been titrating up for so long on so many drugs that your blood glows in the dark and you can see through walls and shit. So you don't know what the fuck it is. You just know that you hate everyone and you want to exterminate the human race. Yeah, so
I remember in the early 2000s, like that was 200 was just what everybody did.
Wow,
that
200 was standard.
Yeah,
it was like 1,000 Tren standard, 200 micrograms Clen standard, 100 T3 standard.
Yeah, that was what.
Oh man, I've tried 100 T3 before.
I did too. You saw my results, man.
Right? Yeah, man. No, the last time that I tried that, I remember realizing that this was a bad idea when I was like laying in bed, and I could feel my heart just like. And I was like, what is that beating at? And so I checked my watch. It was beating at like 98. And had been like laying there for a while. I was like, this is
that contest. I got down to 185 pounds. I was running 100 micrograms of T3.
No boy,
I looked like shit.
I felt so bad when I saw those pics. I was like, what the fuck?
It was really bad. It was really
I think I called you. I was like, how much T3 does he have you on? And then we had the T3 conversation where we both agreed we were never going to do T3 again.
I would never. I didn't even run any last year. None.
Yeah. None. The most I used last prep was 12.5 micrograms. I just don't think it's effective in males. I don't think it's useful.
Yeah.
Do y'all prefer running T3 independently as cytomel, or do you like the T4, T3 with specific ratios?
I usually do T4 first and then T3, and I'll do T4 at 100 to 250 micrograms.
Yeah, that's
you use T4 when you're bringing someone off of T3 during that time period.
Yeah, 100%. And then I focus on micros, and like I focus on like feeding them Brazil nuts and making sure they're eating salmon with bones in it and stuff to get plenty of selenium and chromium and stuff.
So intricate. Yeah, I just give them a multivitamin, and like I was like, the GH converts T4 over to the T3. So like if you Roman turned me onto this. So if you don't use T4 with GH, you'll have a T4 deficiency, and then it'll shift the pathway from the D1 to the D3 pathway, which is then inhibitory. Thanks, Roman, for that one. And then so now my approach used to be that 25 T3 would be appropriate, because you'd assume there's going to be thyroid downregulation while cutting. Now my approach is more similar, I guess, to what John Jewett does, which is 50 T4 and 12.5 T3. That way you're giving the substrate to convert over to activate the D1 pathway, but you're still giving a little bit of T3, so there isn't no T3. And I guess eventually I'd probably titrate up to 100 T4 and 25 T3.
That's what
I would never go over that.
Yeah. Steve's at Japan right now. He said, I'm going to do my best vlog to show people how to go from 12% body fat to 22.
Is that even possible? And is it just Kobe beef? I mean, they don't eat, there's no saturated fat in their diet. It's all rice and
lots of carbs.
Fish.
Lots of carbs.
Yeah, but I don't think you could get fat if you just stick to clean carbs and rice and fish.
I don't think Steve's been fat in probably forever.
No,
he's never.
I think he's very self-critical.
Steve's very lean.
I feel like
I can get fat. I had that, dude. I did that when I stopped lifting for 10 years or so. I did that magic trick where I lost 50 pounds and gained 20% body fat.
What? How?
It was pretty amazing.
That's really impressive. Like
what? Eating no protein?
I don't know how I managed it. I think. Well, I was on gear for like 6-7 years straight. I was working with Dante.
Oh, and then you stopped.
And I just stopped cold turkey.
Oh, you did what all the pros do when they retire because they want to get healthy.
I just stopped cold turkey, stopped lifting, stopped doing everything.
Did that mess with your head?
At first it fucked me up a little bit, but then I don't know, man. I was definitely a little bitch, man. I let my wife rule me, and then Todd put me on Tren.
I fixed it. It was such a, like the thing I felt the most bad about was that, like, when you're in it and there's layers of gaslighting and years of it's like a tell. It's like a city built on top of a city built on top of a city. So your whole framework of reality and your whole way of thinking is based off of precedents that you thought were acceptable, because those were built on precedents that you thought were acceptable. So your identity has completely ceased to exist, and you basically are just rationalizing everything based off of the framework that the gaslighting created. And without any external information and viewpoint, you would have no way to find your way out of the forest.
Well, the anabolic ayahuasca cleared my head.
Did the trick.
It was like, as soon as I started doing Tren, I was like, what the fuck am I doing? I'm leaving. This bitch is done. She's out of here.
Yeah, that was a rough one. Because often I will have to talk to my clients about their relationships, because that shit's getting way out of hand. Like, dude, people get into fitness, they start getting attractive, and then their spouse, male or female, starts to now see it could be a legitimate thing, like the person's being kind of a hoe, and so now their spouse is getting suspicious, and that their suspicion's valid. But a lot of the times it's that person was beat down, and now that they start getting attractive, they're getting positive affirmations outside the home. So now they start to see that their relationship was more suppressive than augmentative. And so now you have to have these talks with them, like, no, dude, you need to quit with that bitch and stay with your wife. You're being a little hoe and you need to stop it. Or your wife's a bitch, tell her to fuck off, and you're going to do what you want because you're an adult. And she's,
I think it changes the value ratio. Like, if you have this female who all of a sudden was 200 pounds and she's 120 now with huge glutes, like, it's like, why am I in this relationship? I've seen like so many divorces happen or breakups as a coach, and it's the weirdest thing, and I hate it. But like, probably had like 6 divorces happen in the time I've been a coach.
Oh, my ex-wife hated it when I would go to the gym. She would get so upset.
That's just ridiculous.
That's why I stopped going, really, because she would tell me I wasn't spending enough time with her, and it was a silly hobby and all this stuff. It was, and
she
I'm
almost
like,
took a hero from the world.
I know. Here I am now, man.
Wear you down, man. It's just an inevitable thing. It's like a rock and the water, like, here's, what do you call it? DJ's Asian. She'll get this Zen shit. It's like you put a rock.
I didn't sound racist at all.
So she said it earlier. So like, you put a rock in a river and shit, and eventually that rock is going to be this smooth pebble, basically, because the water will wear it down over time. It's just a matter of time. That no matter how much of a rock you are, water will eventually wear you down.
So what did Asian have to do with that?
That's the type of that's something I learned in Aikido. That is, be the water, not the rock. That if you have a soft martial arts style, your opponent throws force at you, you redirect that force. You don't try to block that force.
It's called kazushi.
Is that the term?
Yeah.
Okay.
You guys are so cultured. Jeez.
We're just old. We're just old.
PW, he paid again to clarify. He said that he wasn't talking about a cruise. He was talking about this new muscle tissue need time to establish after a bulk.
Right. That's what I thought.
Directly into a cut.
Yeah. According to Jewett, if you go from bulk right to cut, you will lose all the gains you just put on.
And I do agree.
Israel doesn't have that in his book, but I've heard him say that, and like verbally. So
there's no like good research to support it. It's just like this bro science thing we've all kind of found. At least I have, where it's like you become immediately deflated if you go from peak calories to immediate cut.
What kind of science is going to be done? Like, who are you going to take and put them on test, GH, Masteron, insulin, feed them thousands of calories for 12 to 15 weeks? Then you're going to have one test limb of multiple athletes that fits this bill that are going to go directly into a cut. And then the other group is going to go into a holding phase. And then you're going to have them both continue to cut. Then you're going to have them both reevaluated a year later. They don't do 12-month studies. They barely do 12-week studies.
Yeah.
And they don't do studies on trained individuals, and they don't do studies on people on gear. And
you know what
do it, it's single pharmacological agent. It's not 7 different drugs.
Right.
You know what I've found through my process is that I make the majority of my gains on the rebound part, and then cement all that in on the off season. Like that's where, and it seems like I established a new homeostatic point with my body during the off season, where the gains just sort of get cemented in. And it's like I said, I pulled down to that cruise and I held everything.
Yeah, that's what I found too. Is my rebound, I got all the way up to like 260 relatively quick, and the whole off season after a break and then coming back on gear, my weight didn't fluctuate much at all. It didn't move up or down. It just got better conditioning at where I was, and then when I came down, it stuck. It's really interesting.
Yeah, that's what I see.
If you lose the tissue, maybe you run another cycle, or you bring calories or food back up. And Todd would probably know this word, the muscle syncytium. What is that word, Todd? Basically, I think they did like a study in 2020 where once like the tissue had been accrued, it belongs to that grouping. That word I can't freaking say. It belongs to that grouping, and it never goes away. It's there permanently. So in terms of accrual, like even if you do lose some mass, or you were to go straight into a hard cut instead of dropping down to a maintenance period for a while, it comes back a lot quicker. And each time you go back into a building phase or you bring in anabolic exposure or something, it's there. It's permanently. It never goes away. And that came out like 3 years ago, I think.
I think I know what DJ's talking about. Like, all right, so there's an immediate and delayed response, right? So the training you do today may fill up your glycogen supplies, but it also lays down architecture for anabolic processes later. So let's say we were bulking and we stop in December. If you keep the calories high, you will keep growing and cementing down those gains, because the architecture or the scaffolding for the muscle will be filled in with the bricks and the drywall and the electrical and the plumbing until March. But if you shut it down in January, before all those bricks and drywall and electrical and plumbing get put into the architecture, then what'll happen is it'll melt down the girders.
Yeah.
And then when you go into the cut, so you should have like a delayed effect. There should be a lag of a month or a couple months after you stop bulking to keep it.
I'll go back through and put it in the comments because I know that was a paid question. I'll put that study in the comments too, because that's fairly new and I have it saved.
So Todd, are you talking about like non-genomic versus genomic action? Is that what you're kind of saying?
Oh, so like let me give you an example. Like the MGF or localized IGF causes satellite cells to donate a nucleus, right? And then if the cell detects that there's enough nuclei to cytoplasmic ratio, it'll be willing to split from a hypertrophic spell, and it'll do hyperplasia, split into 2 cells. That is a delayed effect. It doesn't happen immediately. It takes time. Yeah. So you can't cut the process short by going calorie deficit. You have to at least keep an isocaloric point for all those processes to come to completion. So in that case, I guess that's non-genomic, because we're not talking about protein transcription and translation.
Yeah.
But it is regarding a nucleus, which so it's kind of confusing.
Yeah. But it's those long-term architectural things that take time that you're suggesting.
I think once you have established, from what I understand, protein structures, it's very hard to lose them. I think what a lot of bros get confused about is the water retention that you get from fucking taking gear. They actually think that is muscle tissue. Like I call it the D-ball effect.
Yeah.
They come off D-ball and they lose 20 pounds and they think they've lost all their muscle, and it's not muscle. It's just bloat.
You lose the enhanced glycogen stores, and then they think when they're deflating, they think it's legitimate muscle loss.
Yep.
It's 75-ish conservatively % of your muscle is water. And so like if let's just say you take androgens and that starts to fill up a little bit more nitrogen and glycogen, which are osmotics, and then they pull in water. So your super compensation effect that you get with gear is like mostly water, and it's probably minimally lean tissue. I just did a review of a study on my YouTube, and I talk about, they actually gave like Army Rangers gear. They gave them 200 milligrams of testosterone, and it's great because it's a controlled environment, controlled eating windows, controlled food, controlled exercise. And at the end of the study, which was about, I believe, 58 days, which wasn't much, but the individuals who were taking testosterone versus the group that was not only gained 4 kilograms, but when they did a DEXA scan, it was primarily water. It was almost virtually no muscle tissue. So it's, a lot of it is going to be water when you put on that weight.
I just recently learned that the FDA doesn't honor DEXA scans or composition scans in evaluating like fat loss drugs. And that was mind-boggling to me, that it doesn't take muscle into account. And that's why like things that have anabolic properties score so low when the FDA is evaluating them for fat loss effects, because they don't look at changes in composition.
Right. They're just are they looking at body weight? Just
strictly weight, just numbers going down.
Oh my gosh. Wow.
That's crazy. All right, I got another question here. Josh Lindsay, curious if you guys ever run a fever on Tren. I do.
I think it's supposed to drive up tumor necrosis factor alpha and possibly interleukin 1 and 6. So that's going to mimic the effects of an infection. And that's probably what that is. It means
and it causes leukocytes to go up as well, which will cause an immune reaction of some kind. So altogether, yeah. I think that what Todd said is important. You're probably on too much.
I notice
10 milligrams a day is pushing it when it comes to the side cost versus benefit reward mechanism. Like, a lot of people don't want to hear this, but like 5 milligrams of Tren a day, you're getting a good portion of the benefits and no consequence.
Have you guys seen...
I have a client on... Sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say, have you seen people on Tren where their eosinophils go up on blood work?
Yeah, it's an immune response. It's very typical. Testosterone does it too, but to a lesser degree. And it's very interesting. I think a lot of the reasons that we have digestive issues and sort of like we can't eat as much foods, and we have to have a very selective diet, is partly because of the gear, for sure. I have a client on 25 milligrams of trenbolone a week, and he is like, just that simple change made him completely transform. And it perplexes me. People are taking, like you used to take 1,000 milligrams of trenbolone a week, and it's like, whoa,
1,400 at that last week.
1,400, get it right.
14. Honestly, man, I saw a benefit. Like, okay, you got extreme difference up to about 50. Then from 50 to 100 a day, I saw no difference. And then over 100 a day, I felt sick, like I had an illness. So
what happened when you got past 1,000?
When it got past over anywhere from 125 a day to 200 a day, I saw no difference.
Yeah.
I was
I did a stint of 300 a day, and it was just like, you're going hypo all the time and sweating your ass off, and you're like, sure. okay.
Was there any noticeable visual changes though?
I mean, it was like a decade ago, and I was 200 pounds and just
you can't possibly eat enough. You're eating 1,800 calories, and you're taking so much Tren, you'd probably need 5,400 calories just to break even.
Yeah.
So you're just a mess. You're flat mess. If your striated glutes fade because you're so flat.
That's why it blows my mind that you'll get these young bros that want to run a bunch of Tren to put on size. I'm like, it is like the worst thing you can possibly use for size.
Yeah.
It's amazing that no one knows that it's a cutting drug.
It's one of the only deep in the community. I think you do know it's a cutting drug because you understand the benefits of the compound. Like, I don't think it's like hidden knowledge. It's just so, like, I know y'all aren't on the TikTok space, but the 30-day Tren challenge is like a thing. Right?
Oh God.
I don't even know what that is. I can imagine though.
Like, so there's this girl at the gym. She's like, she was 15 at the time. And she came up to me and she's like, yeah, I'm on Tren. And I was like, what? How do you know what that is? She goes, yeah, I'm on Tren. She pulled up this website and she's like, I'm going to pick up some D-ball. And she was scrolling through and she's like, I'm going to get some Tren on here.
What is that?
She's
I got to back up for a second. What is the 30-day trend challenge? You got to fill me in on this.
I think they just do like a before and after.
So they document it, but it tends to be like very young males, anywhere from like maybe 17 to 21. It's a very young demographic.
Oh my God, here they are.
Here they are.
And they all look like shit.
Yeah. And they document it, and it's definitely promoting it the way that these videos are done. And I made the mistake of watching one. So now my whole algorithm was like, she loves the 30-day trend challenge. We're just going to show her this content.
Oh, God.
But it promotes it. And these guys, because they don't have any background in the gym, they take trend only to get as strong as like my female natural lifestyle clients. Like it is a transformation. They hopped on trend, of course, but it is rapidly growing in popularity because they're taking people that have never stepped foot in a gym, starting them working out, and then they're just blasting trend for 30 days.
Ridiculous.
And then they do the before and after.
Oh my God.
Just the neurological changes at a young age. It's like, that's so fucking terrifying to me. Your hypothalamus is such a vital component of that.
That's why
I love these dudes that do the 30. Oh my God. Are you fucking kidding me, man?
It's like, I mean, I'm sorry, dude. I'm not a girl. Maybe I'm missing something here, but that's kind of gross, right?
Yeah.
Like seeing just ribs, no abs.
I mean,
like,
clearly that dude got a lot out of it.
Okay. I don't really think that's true, though. I think that's just lighting in his angle.
The 30.
DJ, your husband's a bodybuilder, right?
Yeah, he's classic.
Okay. What do you think about bodybuilders? Like, as far as I've always been curious because it seems different women have very different perspectives, but like the visual aesthetic of a bodybuilder who's big on gear, maybe bald, maybe not. Is that like a feature that you enjoy, or is it like
being in this industry has destroyed me, and I'm probably not the right female to speak on that perception and perspective, if I'm being honest, because it has ruined my perspective of the male physique. I'm very judgmental, and it's like, you're not 200 pounds, I'm gonna say something. Like I'm not the right person to ask, but I love it. I love what bodybuilding's turned into. I love that it's like a freak show. I love these mass monsters, and then you add the aesthetics of someone like Andrew Jack. Like
he's a freak.
I love this industry. I love watching it. I'm not the right person to ask at all.
I always say that bodybuilding ruins women. Like after they get used to looking at bodybuilders, regular men are just so disappointed.
Hey, it screws us up too. Like I went on YouTube and a video popped up of like a legitimate like bikini fashion show, and I was like, I wonder what these girls look like, and I like clicked on it, and like from the front, I'm like, okay, I mean that's not bad. And they turn around and their butt is just like flapping around.
And
I was like cringing. I was like, oh no, what is happening? And I posted it in my Discord, and I was like, I'm fucked up, right? I shouldn't be thinking that this is as bad as it is. And
that's so true.
Whenever I see that, I'm like, I always think maybe they got a good personality too.
But it's just like the vast, like you go in the comments of a video like that, and all the guys in there are just like, oh my God, it's so amazing. I'm just kind of like, I don't like this. This isn't right.
My girlfriend is a non-gym goer, and she like always dated dad bods before, and she's like, I don't think I could go back now.
No. It totally ruins people too. And so it's funny when people tell me their number, like I've slept with like 200 women, blah blah blah, and you're just like, I bet most of them are fucking hideous.
Yeah,
it's like because like you see what their idea of a 10 is. It's like you're 6, and then it's like, all right, so like that kind of undercuts. I actually came up with a system. You're gonna be like, oh no, here's where you move the decimal to the left of the rating and you multiply it by the number because it's a quality coefficient. So let's say they've slept with 100 girls, but the average of them's a 5. That means that the quality coefficient changes that from 100 to 50. It's like
this is the most Todd thing ever.
Yeah. And then I also had a point system, but we won't get into that because it's on YouTube.
DJ, I have one more question. So like someone like an Andrew Jack, or even like because have you guys seen Nick Walker's girlfriend?
Yes.
She's tiny bikini girl.
Maria.
So is that like, obviously your husband is your husband, but do you think that in isolation is attractive in some capacity?
Maria?
I mean, it's hard.
No.
It's hard, honestly, for me to even like sexualize physiques in a general capacity because I'm just judging them.
Mm-hmm.
So, but to me, yes, like I like mass incredibly.
Okay.
That's
So,
another interesting.
my friends will show me guys and like, oh, look at this guy, and they'll have like skinny boy abs, and they'll be like, oh, he works out so much. I'm like, oh, does he do CrossFit naturally?
Yeah.
And
Is he on
so
Tren?
it skewed my perspective. But I think once you're in the industry, because a lot of it, and I'm sure some of this is, I don't even realize I'm doing it, but I know the hard work that goes into that. I understand the dietary compliance, the drug protocols, the effort, intensity. So I think a lot of it's just an appreciation for the physique rather than just being drawn to the general aesthetic. But I like it, and it ruins.
That's a big thing for me. Is like if someone has a really outstanding physique, I know they have a certain proclivity to a work ethic, which is an attractive feature for me.
Yeah, the whole sexualization thing of a physique that you said, like that makes so much sense. Like I see like the fitness girls, and it's weird. Like you're more just kind of like judging them as opposed to like sexualizing them.
It's funny. I've never dated a gym girl ever.
Wow.
Well,
Like
I was just gonna say this too. Is like for me, it's mostly, are they funny, and do they think I'm funny? And also, are they consenting? Like that's the three things. It's like,
that's an important role, Todd. They have to be consenting.
Funny,
that's just constantly going in.
And they want it, then I'm okay. I don't care what they look like. So it's like we're talking about bodies and shit. That's like a very, very, very tiny thing. It's like between the handful of consenting, funny women who are smart. What's their body like? That's like category 4 or 5 priority. So like here we are talking about this look stuff. I don't want anyone to think that I'm prioritizing looks above other things.
I would think,
but you do enjoy bigger tits versus an ass.
No. I like really high quality boobs and really high quality butt. And then if the quality is there, then quantity is relevant. But quantity without quality isn't relevant. Like if they're floppy and nasty, I don't want them to be big. Same thing with the butt. It's like if it's all cellulited up. But it's again, she can have the worst tits and the worst ass. If she's funny and she's down, okay, I don't care.
Oh God.
Also, you mentioned CrossFit, DJ. It's interesting how I feel CrossFit for women does so much better than CrossFit for men. Like I feel like the women that do CrossFit,
just the nature of it. Now I don't do Olympic lifting. I have no background in that or anything, but just the nature of the movements and the progression within the sport in order to be competitive, it is the environment that it sets up and the group lifts and the workouts of the days. I think that really sets up women for success in terms of learning to push themselves adequately. I really think it's good for progressive overloads versus like giving a beginner like maybe a progressive overload bodybuilding split. I think set up to be beneficial, but then they're all blocky and rectangular and like trapezoidus thing going on. So it's, but again, if that's not, I am drawn to a bodybuilding aesthetic. So to me, that's not what I'm striving for, but I have clients that really want that look. So that's what we strive for.
Yeah. I would just.
Did you say Trapezoidus Rex?
Yes.
That's awesome. It's like we should change that to Trapezoidus Hacks because it's like now they've been cursed with big traps.
Yeah, once they're there, like they're not going away.
They're never going away. They're like this. It's like way to pull like this, dipshit. It's like, you ever see that where they're like pulling like this?
Oh
it's
yeah,
like the move, it fucking kills me. It's like, I was like, just stick your boobs out like this. Stick your boobs out. Stick your boobs out. Don't do this.
You could say sternum.
That's the just
no,
you could say
because it usually makes them laugh.
You just got implants.
If you say boob, boob's a funny word.
And it's like, if you don't like the way I talk, don't ask me for help. Go fuck off. You know. Well, before you do that with female clients, you kind of have to have that, type of talk with them. You know, like they understand.
There's no foreplay.
You're doing something. You're doing something. You're like, tits up. What are you doing?
Right in. It's like ready to suffer, bitch. Here we go.
Gotta establish some rapport first. I found that most women just don't find the bodybuilder look attractive. I just like I literally like when I get contest lean, I'll walk through the grocery store and all the young dudes are looking at me like, "Hey, did you see that guy?" And then I'll hear like women muttering, "Oh, that's gross."
No, the norm is definitely
women.
But okay,
I hear that's gross a lot.
Are gross. It's not like there's hot chicks who are like, look at that muscular guy, he's gross. It's like fat or old chicks who are like, that guy's disgusting.
Teenage boys love it.
Yeah.
I think I just have a deeper appreciation. That's what I'll call it. Because like when I'm lean, I get vascular through my chest. I have these 2 veins that just run up. And I think it's the coolest thing in the world. And everyone is horrified by it. They're like, that's gross. If you're a woman, are you forgetting that? And it's like the neatest thing that happens when I'm lean. And that's how I gauge if I'm lean, because those veins only show up. But I'm skewed.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's an interesting thing.
Lucky for me, my wife doesn't care. She's like, I don't care if you're fat or whatever, like, which
That's
is
awesome.
Really weird and
does your wife work out or no?
She works out. Yeah, no, she's incredibly active, but she mostly does like marathon training.
I got
you.
Yeah, she runs a ridiculous amount.
Yeah, my girlfriend doesn't get the gym at all.
You know what I was thinking would be really funny is if we all met up and did something like a marathon or like a 5K and see who won. I think it'd be like,
it would not be me.
We do it on I'll do it on the ski erg. Otherwise I'll just pull a hamstring.
I'll do anything else, but there's so many fun things we could do that like we could go. I don't know. It's archery. Like there's so many things you could do together that isn't involving losing muscle.
That would be a hilarious.
The one exercise that's losing muscle. It's like. It's like, why don't we all get together and have a circumcision party with rusty machetes? It's just like, what the fuck? Why would we want to make our dicks or our muscles smaller? Like that doesn't make any sense.
Your analogies.
All right, so in that case, we'll do axe throwing then.
Yeah, axe throwing are lots of fun as long as there's no drinking or dogs involved.
Oh man, I want to get one more question in before we leave. Did you? Somebody asked if we'd seen Nick Walker's physique update lately.
It's good as hell to last.
Yeah, man. I mean, he doesn't look too modified from last year, is what I'll say.
He looks good.
Yeah, I was just thinking that. I mean, he looks great, but it's just like,
yeah, I think he's maxed out. Like,
man,
the Mastiff's loose.
Yeah,
he's like, he doesn't want you going axe throwing.
I got 2 of them.
I know.
They don't like. Yeah, I got that. Let me find Nick.
Oh, that's the puppy.
I got 2 of them.
I think he's maxed out
by the sound of their pitch.
I mean, I would say that dude has done about as much with his physique that you. I mean, I don't think his genetics were superior to begin with. I know people will say that, but I do not believe that. No. I think he had very average genetics and he made the most of it.
Yeah, like maybe his like shoulders are a bit more round this year, but
I'm sorry, I should have been mute. My bad.
I don't know. It's just the
what is that like?
Pictures?
I mean, it's awesome. I feel like though it is kind of like the same as last year, and as he leans out, the quads come down. Like
one thing he should be doing is like I wish he was being more, because didn't he say he was starting to work with RP?
Yeah, he's doing the RP.
He's been doing that for
a while. Yeah.
Yeah, and he says it's really helpful doing the RIR, but he also at the same time converted to slow eccentrics and all that, and progressive resistance with slow eccentrics. But he just follows the app to the letter. He got the first. I
wish he would do things like skin folds and actually measuring like his arms, legs, abdomen. Like, I want to see is he actually making progress? You know? Yeah.
Look at this
like,
old
these
picture
pictures
of
are
him.
great, but
wow,
Christ.
That's like when he was a child. That's
cute. Crazy.
He really has a strong hairline.
He does.
Loyal.
Some people are lucky.
Well,
like that.
I mean, how old is he? 27?
Yeah, that's a good point. He's really young.
He'll get there.
I was 26.
I had a pretty good hairline then, too.
Yeah, mine just all... You know what's funny? All my hair fell out when I was off gear.
I think stress is more of a...
I was just going to say it's your wife who cost you your hair.
Yeah, probably.
Stress. Yeah, I mean, that's a good point. When my hair started falling out, like, I was struggling. And it was...
I find it's like... right when you go into prep and right when you come out of prep, hair loss is the worst. But in the interim between those 2 points, it's not bad.
It's the acceleration. It's the second derivative of the gear load, not the magnitude, but the acceleration of the gear load that causes the hair to fall out. Because you'll get pimples and stuff once you increase your test. That's your DHT going up, and that's when your scalp starts to itch.
Yeah.
There's somebody who's watching this is like, oh, they're like, oh,
somebody's sitting there, they're like,
Kolton voluntarily sacrificed his hair.
Yeah, I don't understand.
You can still see
Texas is hot. Like, what the fuck were you thinking?
Man, it's just like it takes a lot of time, you know. And I don't mean to see like a bitch about it, but it does take a lot of time. If you want to go out somewhere, you gotta. I'm not one that's like fond of doing shit, like waking up early.
Put a hat on. If you don't feel like doing your hair before you go out, put a hat on.
But and then you take your hat off and your shit's all fucked up, and you gotta like, you know, this is just easier. And like,
you know, it's it's because you don't have any hair. I mean, because you had hair, you don't know what it's like to not have hair. If I had hair again, like if I had more hair than I have now, I still have some hair, I wouldn't fucking take it for granted. I certainly wouldn't hack it off.
Are you still using like a hair loss protocol?
I'm using a shit ton of hair loss protocol. I'm going like $200.
Is it working?
Hair loss protocol. Not as well as if I flew to Turkey and got the real shit done, but it's like I'm just, I don't know. I don't want to say I'm lazy, but the amount of fucking logistics that goes into flying to Turkey and managing my gear and my food, it's like it's better if I do that after a show when I'm doing a maintenance phase or something like that.
Yeah, I'm gonna look at this right now.
I heard Mexico is only 3,000, where Turkey's 2,000.
I just don't
what
care.
does your look like?
Here.
Here's what my hair
I've
looks
never
like.
seen your head.
Look down.
Paul, I just messaged you what my hair.
So that's what my hair looks like. Like, it's not great. It's just not.
Look down. I want to see you look down like this. Look down more. Ooh, okay. Yeah, we got some thin hair there. There's some thin there.
Bad. It's bad.
I just don't care that much about here's Chase with hair. Look at those.
That was like 3 years ago. Like I let it grow out, but it was just like,
what is Chase with
like
hair?
dealing with it.
Pull up Chase with hair. I want to see what Chase is with hair.
This was wow.
That's
you got a full head of hair.
I mean, sort of. It thins like up here, and I don't know. Once it gets to a certain point, it's a pain in the ass.
So like I think the temporal, I'm like, not that I'm gay or nothing, but I think the temporal horns actually look good because it makes you look like wise or mature or something, rather than just having no temporal horns where the hair just goes straight across.
Yeah.
Like infant look, like from the female perspective.
Well, it's the only one that matters, really.
Having like that full hairline, it's like, oh, are you 17?
That's interesting.
Well, your mic keeps cutting out. Are you saying that
you're making
better?
everyone? Yeah, she's saying it's better to not have a full hairline because it looks like
you're to have temporal horns, right? Yeah.
Here's a funny one for you. This is that time I met.
I saw this.
Look at Lee, though. He's so fat.
He's bald. Oh, he was so fat.
That's awesome.
So fat.
He was eating fast food at the.
That's insane.
Good for him. He makes me want KFC right now.
It's so ridiculous.
My current,
see how fat he got.
I think it was about 30 here.
You're Todd. My current topical formula that I'm using is it's finasteride, dutasteride, tretinoin, minoxidil, metformin, spirolactone, and that's it.
And that's
all in one. Yeah, it's all in one topical solution.
I've got my topical is dutasteride, tretinoin, minoxidil, and some other one. And then I got the ketoconazole shampoo, and I'm using 4RU488 blah blah blah. And I think that's all I'm doing. And I got some shampoo that's supposed to increase. Do you guys know what you're supposed to do if you've got like the wrinkled scalp? Like if your scalp looks like the Grand Canyon, just the skin from like contractile bullshit. Like I'm sure that's cutting off blood supply, and that's what the issue is. I just don't know how to like smooth out my scalp.
You could try
my
Botox.
So what?
Yeah, get a cool tattoo.
Get a funny tattoo there.
Yeah, I was gonna have like a bulldog tattoo.
I was gonna have dragons
all
over my scalp.
My hair again. Like I don't want to go through that regrowth process, but I want to get my head blasted. I just don't want to shave it again.
When I'm likely going to shave my head for good, and when I do, I want to get like all of this blasted at some point.
I was going to get my head shaved completely and have like 2 dragons, one red one on the right and a blue one on the left. And then I don't know what I was going to do with the top of my head.
I still have
Kolton looks like he thinks I'm funny, like making a joke. And then he's like realizing I'm serious.
No,
put
a big vagina up here.
No, because every girl's going to be like, whose vagina is that?
No,
they're going to get all jealous.
You put a big mech warrior head on top.
And then whatever girlfriend they're most
tattoo.
jealous of, it's going to be her vagina. It's like, is it that one bitch? Blah, blah, blah. It's like, it's her vagina, isn't it? And then you'd have to hear about it all the fucking time. And she'd make you wear a hat.
I like how everyone laughs when you go on these rants, but like I'm a girl, so I know how accurate that is because that's also me. So.
Thank you for saying that. Thank you for the reason I'm not laughing is I feel guilty as charged. Thank you for saying that. Otherwise, it sounds like you're quiet because I'm offending you or some shit. But now people know the truth as to why you're quiet. All right.
Todd just needs a 20-side dice on his head. That's it.
Yes.
Yes. No, it should be a 20 right on the top.
Oh my god.
It's just like rub this for luck, you know, like
+8.
Here, blow on this. It's like...
All right, guys, I need to wrap this up. I got some check-ins to do and more calls coming up. Any parting words for the crowd?
First Detachment Nutrition has their new suppressor product out, Suppressor Max.
Oh, did he release the Suppressor Max?
Yep, it just came out today.
Super secret ingredient he's been hiding.
It's out?
About? Yeah.
I heard him talking about it. What's the ingredient?
I don't even know.
It's super secret.
Now that it's out?
You wouldn't tell me.
Now that it's out, what is it? Because they were keeping it quiet. No, I was curious what it was.
Suppressor Max.
We were all betting it was like dihydroberberine or
it's duck eggs.
1 non-anacetyl carboxylic acid.
Oh.
Non-carboxylic acid.
Okay.
Never heard of that before.
Yeah, and it has berberine HCl as well.
Is that
what does it do? What is it supposed to do? If it's got berberine, is this a glucose disposal agent?
Yeah,
glucose disposal agent. Yeah.
Primo or Mast. It's just like, oh my god, man! It should be the name of the fucking podcast.
Suppressor.
Yep, here it is.
Someone said Todd should shave his head and have simp written on it. That's funny. It's like, oh man, that's funny.
Oh my god.
Oh man.
Ruthless.
Oh man.
I've never heard of this before. That's interesting.
Yeah, Josh, that's one of my clients.
Unless SMP means something else. I thought it was simp. Maybe I'm projecting.
You might be. I don't know. Oh, God. That's funny. All right, guys. Thanks for watching today. Take care.